Assalamualaikum and hi. Okay. Saya Khalis Hazwan. We are from Kaizen Sphere, where we are the community of we're gathering people who embrace continuous improvement in an atmosphere. Okay. So today is our very first episode, and we are so grateful that we have two great panels that I will introduce later on. Okay. And today, our topic will be about bridging generational gaps and adapting to the new norms. Okay. So, on my left-hand side, the first panel we have Lily Lau, okay, the master trainer of directive communication psychology, and she is more famous as the colored brain trainer and also a certified HRDF trainer. And secondly, we have Miss Nana Shukri. Okay, our Gen Z social media influencer. She always talk about the mental health and well-being of her generation. Okay, so in our first episode, okay, we're gonna discuss about the generation gaps, which is more familiar to Lily Lau, because she also always share about this generation gap between our Malaysian and particularly in working atmosphere or workplace lah. Okay, so we're gonna make this conversation and discussion more like not really formal, but then more like santai,
Yeah,
so that
casual.
yes, so that we can we can really
Express ourselves.
express. Yes, the Gen Zs always talk about expression. Okay,
All about expressing ourselves.
all about expressing ourselves. Okay, so for the first question, for the first round is to Lily. Okay, the first question would be, Lily, can you provide us some insights into the defining characteristics and the values of each generation? As you know, we have I think you yourself as the baby boomers. Am I right?
I will talk about that in a short while. Yeah.
Okay. And then we do have Gen X. Okay, perhaps Lily nanti akan ceritalah Gen X tu siapa. And then we have Gen Y, the millennials. And then of course we have this Generation Z ataupun Gen Z. Okay, and how this influence their behaviors and expectations.
Okay, thank you very much, Khalis, for the invitation, and Nana, nice meeting you. Right, and I'm glad, I have this, young, aspiring, Gen Z, to work together, right? Now, which generation am I in, right? That was the question given by Khalis, right now. What happened here? Just let me, start a little bit about, how this whole generation discussion comes about. Yeah, the whole thing is being hyped up by US, right? Right, and they come up with lots of studies and they define their generations, which I think is right according to their circumstances, to their situation, right? But when I started studying that, I saw a lot of gaps, right? And they define, Y is like that, Z is like that, baby boomer is like that. Then I look at myself, I said, I'm not like that. You see? Okay. By year, in the definition by US, I'm a baby boomer. Right? That tells you how old I am. However, the characteristics of baby boomers, I see that I'm not entirely a baby boomer. Right? And then I studied Gen X. I say I'm also not correct. I have a little bit, but not entirely X also. So that gave me, some, confusion, right? So and then I went on further study, and there were, answers that I got. Now all this is through self-study, right? At the end of the day, what I concluded is that the study of generation has to be different country by country. Why? Because every country have different culture, different history, different economic development. That is the key point that defines generation. Okay? Right? So, as a result, right, I created this hybrid group. So, I consider myself Boomer's X because I have Boomer quality and X quality, right? So, maybe Khalis, right? I think you are XY type. You are neither fully X, neither fully Y. You understand both.
I see, okay.
Right? You are like a hybrid crossover, right? A little bit here, a little bit there, right? And you can work well with both, right? You understand both, right? And I think you are Y, Z.
Yeah.
You are.
I'm not entirely Z.
And Y. Yes. So that's what I when I saw you, I don't think you are Z.
Yeah.
Z, a pure Z will be slightly different from you. Yeah.
But I understand them.
You understood.
I understand why they are the way they are.
Yes. That's good. That's good, right?
Okay,
But when you look at them, you will see that you are also different from them.
Yeah.
You have more maturity. But your maturity compared to a Y is like, you don't think that you fit in there entirely.
Yeah.
So this is where I came up with this
conclusion.
conclusion. Right? We cannot put ourselves into one box so nicely.
Yeah.
So they are like crossover boxes. Yeah, that kind of thing. So in my conclusion, right, there are people who are purely X, purely Y, right? There are. But there are people who have crossovers. Yeah, right? So to me, at the end, right, the definition of a generation, you have to understand the culture, the country history, and the development, right? Now, I have to go in just to give you that background. I may take a little bit of that. For example, right, in US, the definition of Gen Y starts from 1980.
Okay.
Which everybody knows it, right?
Yeah.
Where was Malaysia in 1980 as an economy? We were still so laid back, so behind time.
Yeah.
Agriculture.
Oh, yes.
Industries, hardly. Do you see that?
Yes.
But US already have Silicon Valley developed very fast. So you can't compare US with Malaysia. So if you are born in 1980, you don't even know what is technology.
Yeah.
Back then.
Back then, yeah.
You see, they already started. Okay, back then it was the first generation, big frames, mainframes, IBM type.
IBM, yeah.
Very big, right? Whatever that was created in US, maybe only come to Malaysia 5 years later back then. Do you see it? There's a lag.
Yeah.
There's a lag, right? In actual, Malaysia only started to develop technology after MSC was developed. What is MSC? I'm not sure whether you know, right? MSC
Nana?
is the organization, all right, that develops all the fiber optics, the infrastructure for internet.
Okay.
Without that, Malaysia back then has no internet.
Yeah.
MSC, 1996.
I witnessed that.
Okay, right? So,
Wow.
internet only come to Malaysia after 1996, or starts to develop when MSC was developed. Because MSC was that agency that looks at infrastructure development for internet. So before that, nothing. So you have to understand all this background, to define Gen Y. Right? So Gen Y in Malaysia, different from US, is the generation that was growing up in teens without technology, started to embrace technology and understand what technology is. Can you see? So they are the generation in Malaysia. Their school days is still paper and pencil.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
Right? So they were brought up with X and boomers, very similar situation in studies. Studies impact the mindset
Yes.
as a growing up, and that defines generation. Right? Then only technology comes in. Right? And of course, they were the time, because they were teenage, that was the best age for Gen Y to embrace technology. Right? All the computer games, all those came in. Right? And they were the ones who got the opportunity to start and play, but they were already teenage. Compared to Z, already as a young boy, they are playing.
Yeah, we were supposed at a very young age.
Yes. You see, can you see the difference in the mindset now? When you are, 5, 6, 7 years old, you're already like so good, know what to press, or even as a baby, you know what to press already. Compared to a growing up teenager, only start to press.
Yeah.
Compared to me, only in my 40s, I start to press. So it's a different story in adoption. Okay, learning technology and
here the line is very different.
the line. So that, in fact, defines which generation that you are in.
That's important, yeah.
And because the whole thing about generation started, it was because of technology that made Gen Y different. It started in US
Okay.
Yeah, right. So that there was the history behind, right? And you have to understand when technology came into Malaysia. Okay, so I've given some, pelajaran sejarah. Okay, okay. Then goes back to your questions. What are the defining characteristics?
Yes.
Right now, I will do this in the context of Malaysia because I've done quite a lot of studies. Right?
Sure.
Now, for me, baby boomers in Malaysia, actually, right, in the US, they have the influence of World War II and Vietnam War and all that, which is their history. But in Malaysia, it's Merdeka. So the baby boomers at that time, they knew what it was like before Merdeka. They went through August 31st, 1957, or even 1963 when Sabah and Sarawak came. They were part of the history back then, so they understood, right? So that was baby boomers, right? And education back then was English.
Yeah.
Very British.
Very British, yeah.
Right? So that influence, right? The baby boomers. If you talk about English, they are the best. Now already jatuh lah.
Agree.
Right? Yeah. Then comes Gen X. Now, Gen X, what factors influence Malaysia? Influence the Gen X in Malaysia? Industrialization. Okay? 80s. After agriculture, before the Pasar ekonomi baru, and then Malaysia as a country, right? We started to grow very fast in the early 90s. That's where Malaysia really picked up as a country. Economy grown very fast, right? And we were like comparing, even with Hong Kong, Singapore, and that time, right? We were very good, right? So that was the influencing factor that influenced Gen X because they went into the workforce, started to work and all that into the labor market, right? So Gen X is very much into the industrialization of Malaysia. I went into work in 1988. Okay, well, a long time ago. I'm not sure you were not born. Yeah, right. So when I started in 1988, in the mid-1980s, Malaysia had a depression, very bad economy. So when I joined the workforce, right, things were still very slow. But in 1990s, wow, it started to pick up very fast. I mean, I remember those days, the things was happening, the foreign investment, so many investment came in. And that time I was part of the, involved in the economy, right? So we were like that. So Gen X went to
help to develop.
Yes, all the housing development, right? Those days, right? Okay, so that was that, right? So for me, I called the Gen X in Malaysia the sandwich between boomers and Y back in those days, right? And they are the ones who understood what is it like, to be a little bit old style, work with the elderly people, and what is it like to work with the younger people and learn a little bit about technology. Now, Gen X is capable to learn also, and in fact, there are many Gen X who are very tech savvy. Right? In fact, many Gen X who are very tech savvy. So they are that generation who's a little bit here, a little bit there, right? And at the corporate, right, they are the middle management most of the time, right? And they have to be flexible, versatile, right? With having different management skills, how to deal with the bosses and how to deal with the subordinates and all those steps, right? So that was them, back then, right? So their tagline, or the generation tagline is work smart but not work hard, because this tagline came out in the 1990s.
Work smart but
not work hard. Baby boomers is work hard and work hard and work hard.
Yeah.
Because they were born after the war. Everything was so poor.
They're used to working hard.
Yes, they only work hard. That's it. So then, their children see how hard they work. Then they say, I'm not going to work so hard. I want to work smart. Yeah. So that's how this tagline came out,
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Right? Then the Gen Y, then you see their passion. In my opinion, you're still working very hard, Yeah. Right? Then that's where the tagline, work hard and play hard.
For which
Gen Y.
Gen Y. Okay.
Right? They want to play.
Yeah. Okay,
they want to have more fun. They want, not so serious, 9 to 5, so rigid, so boring, so routine, right? And they were having a hard time to break that workplace norm until COVID came in that changed everything, right? Work from home was unthinkable.
Yes, yes.
Right, you understand, right? Right, work from home was unthinkable. Flexibility was not even allowed. But COVID changed everything, lah. So also thanks to COVID, also in that sense, lah.
Bright side of COVID.
The bright side of COVID, lah. Right, the bright side of COVID, lah. Right. So so if you look at that, right, the values, of boomers is work hard, loyalty, lifetime employment. This is a very real, how shall I say, words that applies to boomers, right? If you look around, a lot of their parents or grandparents truly is lifetime employment. They don't resign one. Yeah, and I've interviewed some of these boomers. I said, are you really happy or not? The answer is not really, really happy one. But they choose to remain because it is their values. They go for security, that's it. No matter what, putting food on the table is most important.
It's not about pleasure or fun, entertainment. It's all about surviving and providing.
Yes.
That's so sad.
Yes.
That's how
but that was how they were.
That's how they're conditioned.
Yeah, those times, right? Then, X came in, right? X is more like, work effectiveness, time management, how to meet your personal goals and objectives. They have a little bit of that, right? And they want to do it, yeah? Okay? Then millennials is all about, work hard and play hard, lah, right? They don't mind to work hard, but they want to play hard equally, right? So anything that tells them, you got to follow rules, this is where they rebel.
Yeah, I can relate that.
Yeah, many of them rebel, right? And because of their knowledge that they have, what technology can do, that's where they want to do things differently. And that was the challenge, for example, 10 years ago, right, at the corporate. When I have actually did a lot of talk about all this, but now not so much already because of, lots of things have changed, right? But those days, it's like, truly, people do not understand why Gen Y are like that. Because they expect Gen Y to be like X to be like boomer style, right? So when all this Y goes into the workplace, they want to be different. They can see what technology can do, but the resistance was at the X and boomers level.
Yes.
Right? I think you understood that kind of environment, right? So that was that big gap, back then, right? But now if you look at it, it is the boomers and X that has to change. More at the boomers level. Right?
Because we have the additional newer generation in the workforce,
yes.
the Gen Z.
Yes, the Gen Z.
Yeah.
Right? So that was, the Gen Y. Then comes the Gen Z. What tagline do you think is Gen Z?
I don't know. I think work hard, play harder. That's what I think of lah.
Okay.
What is it?
Let me play and let me lose.
Wow.
It's all about play only. But they play with being productive in the mind. They do have that. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Right? They actually do have some vision. They want to,
You do want to achieve something.
Yes, they want to achieve something. They want to do something great for the world or even for the economy.
But we also are not going to sacrifice some playtime. Yeah, the fun part.
Yes, right? So in fact, everybody knows that Gen Z is the smart app or smart tech or tech-savvy apps, right? Because they are born in the era when apps are already there, right? Facebook was created in 2006, right? So all the Z would know, right? Yeah.
They are not using Facebook.
Okay, now it's no longer Facebook. You're right. It's no longer Facebook, but it has progressed. Right? It has progressed, but it is like after that, that's how it has changed the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So their life is all, their blood is all inside is all the technology lah, right? And the biggest change that has happened was during the COVID, when education was temporarily stopped and everybody was forced to go online.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the impact of this? Right? If you ask me, I can't imagine what was it like to attend a class via Zoom or via virtual, right? But now, of course, I know lah, right? But these children, right, already they were forced to go into that.
Yes.
Or, and already first 2, 3, 4 times you may not get used to it, but soon, you will get used to it. So that means they're going to grow up to understand education need not be physical anymore. Right? It can be done anytime, anywhere, wherever I want it. In fact, this is the biggest challenge to go to school now for them. Yeah, right?
It may be hard to concentrate in class, is it?
Yes, in class and all that, right? So that actually does change how learning should be. But in fact, unfortunately, our education is still zaman baby boomer lah.
They have not progressed.
50 years they have not progressed. So there's a 50 years gap in between.
That's too bad.
It's very bad. It's very bad.
It's affecting the younger generation.
Yes, it is. It is. You see, their mind is already so fast. At that age, they are already exposed, right? Yeah. Right. But in school, I was told they still have the rules that they cannot bring handphone.
Yes, still.
Correct, right? Right. They cannot bring handphone, but a lot of teachers are resisting it, and a lot of teachers, they even tell the parents, I just keep quiet. I pretend I don't see it. Everybody knows you can't live without handphone now. Right? But the school is not doing anything to solve this problem. Yeah. Right? To me, it's like, what's wrong to have handphone now? Yeah. Right?
What are you so scared of?
Yes, right? The question is, give handphone, allow handphone, come up with rules.
Yeah.
What you should do, what you can do, monitor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why you have to learn and discipline children. Same with computer lah. You buy right? If those parents can afford, right?
Go ahead.
They're going to bring that, study instant, right? It's not by memorization anymore.
Yes, please. No more.
No more.
Yeah.
It's not by memorization. It does not matter how much facts you know anymore, right? It's how well you can have critical thinking. Right? The facts that you are given, betul tak? Right? Are you able to assess this is value or no value, or people now it's ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They can ask.
You cannot say that you don't know.
Yeah.
I think the problem is they think that dulu we all experienced this, so you should experience this too. Like kita orang je yang paling betul, we did this, so this is the right way. So if you do
that is baby boomer lah.
Yeah, if you doing it differently means you manja, you're not doing it right. So that's why they're like denying the phones. Tak nak.
Okay, I'm not in the sorry lah, but really, I feel very pity. I feel very pity lah. Right. So in general, right? So what are the values of all this Gen Z?
Gen Z.
Right? They want to be authentic. Do you agree with me? Right? And they do care about making a difference.
We do, of course.
Right? Now, if you know what I'm talking about, the world is being capitalized, or the economy in terms of business is being capitalized by boomers and X. For example, they chop the trees. Yes. They mine the land. All this is for profit lah, right? Yes. Right? But now comes Z. They know if you continue, what's going to happen to the world? So their mind is, yes, profit is important, but what can we do now? Do things differently. Do you agree?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Is there alternative not to chop down tree, for example? But we need your help.
Yeah.
All this generation only think that chop. Right? We don't think how to save. We may know that we should not chop, but we still chop.
I think
for business.
Gen Z is aware of the climate change that's coming.
Yes. Is it just like wearing masks now?
Yes.
They were now already trained. You need to wear.
Yeah.
But we were not trained. We were forced to wear.
Yeah.
Right? So the mindset is different. There's still resistance. So their knowledge towards hygiene, is very different. How we were being taught.
Yeah.
Yeah? Right? So it's different mindset now. Right? And the world now we are living in a VUCA world. Everybody, you understand what is VUCA, right? VUCA. VUCA.
What is it? I never heard of it.
Okay, this is current times, it's called VUCA economy.
Okay.
V stands for vulnerable.
Okay.
U is uncertainty.
Okay.
C is complex. A is ambiguous.
Wow.
That means our economy is very vulnerable, very uncertain, very complex, very ambiguous. Anything can happen anytime.
True. Very scary.
Yes, very scary. And something happens so far away. 20 years ago, whatever that happened, you will see, oh, impact tak ada impact untuk kita. But sekarang ada.
Yes.
Yeah? Immediate.
Yeah.
Immediate. Right? It's very complex. You can't understand, but it's happening.
That cannot do prediction.
Yes.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
yeah.
Right? So, Gen Z do understand all this. You may not understood the word VUCA, but you
Yeah.
know you are in it.
Yeah.
You are in it. Compared to our time, my time, it's like stability, peaceful, right? Right? That kind of economy.
Progress.
Right? Yeah, steady, slow
Yeah.
progress, you know. But now tak ada.
It's like chaotic.
Chaos. That's why it's VUCA. It's called VUCA economy. You know, even the COVID, right? We take, what do you call it? Vaccine.
Yeah.
Right? It's very ambiguous.
Yeah. Some people said.
Is it going to be truly, going to help, or got counter, productive that have some impact? Tak tahu. But we have to get it done lah. So it's ambiguous, right? And there are stories people who die after getting vaccination, right? Yeah. Things like that. So this is where we are now, and it will be worse,
Very interesting.
right? War happened, right? Ukraine, Palestine, impact. Kat Malaysia, we feel it.
Yes.
Right. Not only feel it affect our life, our livelihood. Food became so expensive.
Yes.
Right. Last time you think, oh, what happened in Syria? Okay lah.
That's how it was? Wow.
But now no, right? When Russia attacked Ukraine,
We were like, oh
after
my God,
that,
what's going to happen to us? Because
yeah,
it's going to affect us.
yeah, right. Then after that, in Malaysia, no chicken for 6 months, or shortage of chicken, shortage of eggs, which was unthinkable. You couldn't predict that would happen, right? But why does it happen? Indirect study. Oh, because war in Ukraine. Can you see the impact? Yeah. So we don't know what's going to happen, right? So that's how it's going to work lah. So for Gen Z, right? They now live in this kind of environment. Although they may be young, but they understand the impact. In future, all this becomes their reference when they grow up.
That's a very interesting take on Gen Z, because I'm always hearing negative stuff about Gen Z. So I'm like, that's a very good insight why we are the way we are.
Yes, why you are the way that you are, right? So that's to answer. It's a very long answer.
That's a very good answer.